Welcome back, everybody, to the Orange Bumper Podcast. Sitting here with Burt Myers, and we have a wonderful, wonderful guest today who I will introduce in just a minute. But beforehand, it seems like there's as always, hot topic.
Drama.
As the world turns, as the racetrack turns, with the sportsman this time. What's your take on it? Maybe I should read the results.
Read the most people that are watching this already kind of know what's going on. But just in case they don't, this is the official statement
official one. Says Bowman Gray Stadium has disqualified the top 4 finishers and fined the top 3 finishers in the July 26th Sportsman 100 lap race. The 81 of Zach Clifton, 31 of Chase Robertson, 03 of Sterling Plemons have been disqualified from the July 26th Sportsman Division race for illegal tire modifications per section 12.4.12 of the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series Rulebook. Did you know they have one?
I've heard of it.
Okay. Which says any competitor whose car specifications are determined to be unapproved is subject to disqualification, fines, and loss of championship points. Additionally, these 3 drivers have each been docked 40 championship points and fined $400. Additionally, the number 55 car of Zach Orr has been disqualified from the same race for failing to tear his car down after the race per section 12-4.13 of the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series Rulebook, which says any competitor who fails to surrender a vehicle, part, or component to track officials is subject to disqualification. Justin Taylor in the number 12 car, who originally finished 5th in the July 26th Sportsman Division race, has been declared the race winner.
Well, so we heard some rumors before practice, I think it was, that they were going to check the motors of the top 5. We had no idea nobody, I don't think, said anything about tires. I know that they posted a bulletin when we came back from the break. There was a bulletin posted at sign-in that said that any division, tires could take a sample or check tires and that kind of stuff. Now, what people have to understand is, I can remember days in the modified where they didn't regulate tires at all. I can remember as a kid, everybody would go over on Saturday morning. Wow. See, I tried to turn my ringer off on my new phone and I couldn't do it. Sorry about that. Slate, figure out how to turn that ringer.
Yeah, let them kids do it. That's why our kids.
I turned the volume down, but it doesn't have the same button on the side of this one. So anyway, sorry about that, everybody. So, I can remember everybody would go over on Saturday morning, put on a brand new set of tires, go out and do 2 laps, come in, you stack them up, and you start squirting them. Like that was just common, right? So I remember those days in the modifieds, and then as time has gone on, they've kind of started reeling it in, and I really don't think there's a problem right now in the modifieds, which is, I'm glad to see. So I think maybe some people are still monkeying with some stuff, maybe. But so when I saw that bulletin, we all thought that it was targeted towards modifieds. And the reason I say that is, as long as I've been going over there, sportsman, street stock, and mini stock have been soaking tires.
Yeah, put oil in the car, put gas in the car, get your tires taken care of.
That's part of the program. And if you're not familiar with people are going to see it both ways, right? Because I said this yesterday whenever this came out. I'm going to say the same statement in 2 different ways. So when somebody says, well, we've been soaking tires for ever in sportsmen, one guy's going to say, they've been soaking tires forever. The other guy's going to say, they've been soaking tires forever? Same statement, 2 different ways. So it depends on how you want to look at that. But what you have to understand is, if it's not regulated, and they've always allowed it, they've never made an attempt I'm almost 50, and I've never, ever known them to try to regulate tire soaking in sportsmen. So you either do it or you don't run up front. So it's part of their program. There's guys that do it for a living. You buy a set of tires and you take it to this guy to do your tires for you.
Right.
In my opinion, it's just my opinion, if Bowman Gray and NASCAR or whatever have realized, you know what, we got to put a stop to this, I think it would have been more fair to say 2026, absolutely no monkeying with tires, period. But to do it right now, because I'll be the first to tell you, and I don't think there's anybody out there that'll disagree with me, if there was 20 cars in that field and they took a 20-car sample, nobody wins a race.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
The other thing that's a little bit confusing is I was told, now listen, like we've talked about before, this is our opinions.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I was told, number one, there was 5 cars that were taken to the impound. The top 5 cars were taken to the impound. So somehow or another, one of those cars was removed from the impound and didn't get checked. The other thing is I was also told that all 4 cars' tire sample came back positive for chemicals, but only 3 of them were docked 40 points. So maybe there's some more going on here that we don't know about. I just think it's really unfortunate that the way it was handled, because what you have to understand is they got them dead to rights, but at the same time, how you got them is a little bit different. You know what I mean? So everybody's going to have a different opinion on it, but I think that the points battle tightened up, and Bowman Gray is based off of entertainment, and so it looks like it's going to be pretty entertaining from here on out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. It doesn't make me like it anymore. I personally feel like competition should be just that, and it should not be dictated by management.
Right.
Not saying that's the case, but you see it in all the series. Like what happened with you this past weekend. I don't understand how you allow a man to call his shot all week long, show up, do it, and there's no repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you go to any other series, any other track for that matter, that's not going to be tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that your car wasn't wadded up with $10,000 worth of damage is irrelevant.
Well, I'll bet you one thing. If you take all the cars that got damaged, it might equal $10,000.
Well, that's very true. Yeah, I just, it's just very difficult.
So that deal Saturday night, it's not my first rodeo, and so all I can do, like, I don't want to do. It's not a sermon here, but it was on my radar, but it's not something that consumed me. But at the end of the day, I pray every race. I pray to just let me have peace with whatever happens. And so the odd thing about it is even though it bothered me, I was at peace with it. I really was at peace with it, because everything happens for a reason. And I found out at the end of the night, I found out the reason. And I didn't like what happened. I didn't like the outcome, but I can't ask for God to give me peace with what happens and then be mad at him when it doesn't turn out the way I want. That's not how that works. But I found out at the end of the night when somebody came up to me, it was a family came up to me. Really, I love this family. I'm not going to say any names. It's the mom and dad and 3 boys. And I've known them since they were from when they were just little. The other, one of them's eye level with me now. And I remember when he was just, but anyway, they came up to me and said they were proud of me, the way I handled myself. And I think that's what God wanted me to figure out is, how are you going to handle this? What are you going to do? So at the end of the night, it did not turn out the way I wanted. I don't think it was justified. That's the biggest part. And I don't care, I don't care how anybody else views it. I know how I view it, and I know how I feel, and I know that I've told the truth from day one, that what happened 2 weeks ago was not intentional. It was racing. We got together because I got squeezed, and it's just what it is. But at the end of the day, we're going to move on. We're going over there, and our intention's the same as always been, is go try to win. But it is unfortunate that I'm hoping, today's Wednesday, so who knows if anything's going to be done or not, but I don't agree with letting a man call a shot and then take the shot. What does that say to everybody else?
Well, it sets a precedence. How can you enforce it in any other way going forward? Right.
So how can you penalize a man that does it next time if you don't do something this time?
100%.
So, but listen, our goal is to go over there Saturday night. It's 100 lapper.
That's right.
Our car's really good. Had Buzzy go freshen up the rear end this week. Went through the car, and believe it or not, the car is ready to race right now. Today's Wednesday morning. So
I have no
we
doubt.
worked hard. We put our nose down and got it done. And yeah, so that's our plan. Go win.
We are Citrusafe. where good grilling is made better. We have prided ourselves in being the industry pioneer for safe grill cleaners. Our citrus-powered grill cleaner spray paired with our nylon bristle brushes is all you need when it comes time to clean your grill. We strive to not only save you fuel, but also avoid the dangers associated with ingesting metal wire grill brushes. Citrusafe is available at major retailers nationwide, from Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, Walmart, and many more. We also are available online on Amazon.com. Citrusafe, great for all grills.
Well, let's introduce somebody that's
I'm excited about this.
No
man.
stranger.
I've heard some stories from him.
No stranger to winning.
I bet there's some of them I haven't heard yet. So, John, go ahead. You introduce him.
No,
first.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, John, I mean, we've known each other. Our families have known each other.
Oh, way back.
Way back.
Before we were born.
Yes. So you probably got some stuff.
I do.
You introduce him. How about that?
So with us today is John Dodson. John's been in NASCAR for a long time, mid late 70s, is that right?
Late 70s.
I mean,
Whole life, really.
I don't want to add up those years for you.
Yeah, they're getting there.
But has been around, worked with numerous drivers, has held just about every kind of job you can imagine in NASCAR, has been there and been privy to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And now currently today works at UTI. Basically, you're I don't want to get this wrong, but you're the curriculum development. You developed the curriculum for the racing part of UTI.
Yeah,
originally
did that.
grown.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did that in 2002.
Right. So after you're on the road for so long in
Mhm.
NASCAR, you
Mhm.
kind of want new challenges, and just based on the growth that your program and the other offshoot programs that have developed at UTI, obviously it's been very successful. But and we'll get into that in a little bit. I've got you were talking about stories and whatnot. I'm just gonna go ahead and kick this off with a really good question. So I really want to know. The story behind
How many
this.
people seen that?
Story
Well,
behind that.
yeah,
There's a foreign object in there. Can you help us with this?
I'm telling you,
Hate to throw you on the spot.
I'm
right?
telling you, I don't believe, as bad as everybody wants to believe it. I don't think it. I think it's just
We've heard it was a cane and
hands.
hand. and,
It ain't that. Because Neil Bonnet would have killed him.
yeah.
It ain't that. I've seen. I was there when he got in a few spats and everything, but I'm one that don't believe that. I think it's just the way the hands are held and all that. So,
Well,
now I will tell you the reason everybody thinks that. He was a wild man.
Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say you couldn't put it past him, right?
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because I know you worked with Tim Richmond for quite a while, and you hear all kinds of crazy stories, and I've heard you refer to him kind of like as the Elvis of NASCAR.
Oh, absolutely. He was
And
just
so
like Elvis to me.
If the story that gets told along with that picture were to be true, there's a lot of people that'll be like, yeah, that probably fits.
I've always believed it until we started getting into it. I always believed it.
Everybody believes it, and everybody wants to believe it. I say it all the time, like Dale McCowart used to say, we didn't win all the races, but we didn't lose any parties.
Yes.
And when we were off on the weekends, a weekend off, everybody was at Tim's house. Dale Earnhardt and Teresa, all the crews. That was our meeting place, our center place. And he would say, "Hey, let's watch a video of me in Indy," and get it out, and everybody watch him at Indy, Rookie of the Year. He was the center of it. He had to have attention. He wanted to be an actor eventually. That's why he's like, I want to race, but I don't see myself racing forever. And that's why, that's Folgers. We were old Milwaukee with him. So he had already left us, and we got Rusty, and he was something else. But to me, he was like Elvis. He really, he was a show off. Well, and that's good. I'm not. I'm complimenting him.
NASCAR needs that sometimes.
Like how Penny said, him and Kyle went to the movie and they watched some movie. We did all kind of stuff on the weekends at a racetrack when you're bored and nighttime. And he said, "I want to date that girl," and he went and dated this girl in the movie.
I mean, that's horsepower.
And that's doing
horsepower.
That first to ever bring a bus. he would sleep in the bus. I remember going into Michigan, knocking on the window. The crew, we go in at 7 in the morning, getting him up. And he's hey guys, we're gonna get him today. And his mama, he's in the bus with his mama and his daddy, and she's making us banana pudding. First ever have a bus, so he broke the mold there.
Yeah.
First ever have a full face helmet. Him and Jeff Bodine, but Tim really come in with a fire mask and he flamboyant. But man, he could wheel that race car.
What were the other drivers' opinions of him? Did they kind of resent that? Was he considered an outcast?
Well, we were talking about this a little before we started, like how some of the drivers come in. You got Chastain stirred things up, Hocevar and Brad Keselowski when he come in. Everybody wrecked them, or they wrecked everybody, and then they started getting wrecked. It wasn't that way as much with Tim. Tim had a few things that he got in trouble with. He come in driving DK's car, so he wasn't a threat to anybody. Not to knock DK's car, but it wasn't a they rented a race car in him, basically. And he worked his way up when he got in a 2-car with J.D. Stacy and Dale Emmon as his crew chief, won some road courses, and he kind of earned his way that way. But we had that instance at Daytona when I think it's 83 when David Pearson got black flagged, Chattanooga 2-car, and Tim gave him the finger. He was smoking, and Tim gave him the middle finger. Well, Tim Brewer told him on the radio, he said, man, don't pay no attention. There's 4 laps left in the race. They've black flagged him. He's getting off the track. Well, he gave him a finger. Well, when they come in the track, he said, I think David Pearson's mad at me. So he said, Tim Brewer looked at me and said, John, go get with Tim. So I run down pit road, and Tim pulls off the racetrack on pit road before you turn to go into the old garage. He stops. Get in. I jumped in the car. His car's lined up to go in. I jumped in the driver's window, and we went in there. He said, he's pretty mad. Think he's mad. Well, here's a little old Tim Richmond. Here comes Pearson over there. We got out of the car, and he gets up to him. I've told this story once, but he gets up to him nose to nose. And he said, boy, don't you ever throw that finger up at me or something. Tim started to say something, and I mean David Pearson, boom, knocked him. He just flailed him into the block wall behind us. Then we kind of grabbed Pearson. He said, I'm done, boys. You can let me go. And, then Tim's got a bloody nose, bloody mouth. We're going back to the trailer. I quit and all that stuff. So, that's what other drivers, you're fine. You come here and race, but you don't do that.
Well, Pearson set the tone.
Well, it's about respect.
He set the tone.
Yeah.
It's about respect.
It's about respect. And Tim needed that to settle him down, cocky and full of vinegar. And so
Philip Smith used to say he
that.
made an honest man out of him.
He did.
That's what Philip used to say.
And Tim got, that was a heat of the moment thing, but he learned, all right, these guys have been here. This man's won 100 races. I better have a little more respect.
That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm just sitting here thinking.
Sorry, I had to, man. I had to.
I got one. I want to tell you this one before I forget. I had never got to tell this story, but we were down there testing in Daytona in January, and he said, I'm going to go out and see if the track's wet, because always in 1 and 2 in the morning, it would stay damp. And he started getting in the car, and he looked over at me like we're birds. He said, you want to go? I said, I'll go. So I sat down in the floorboard here, and he goes out. We go down pit road. Well, he's just going out just to ride around, I'm going to go out and see if the track's wet. So he pulls up into 1 and 2, and he just throws her just as hard as he can, trying to slide the car. And we go down the back stretch. I'm sitting there in the floorboard, He's got his helmet on and everything, and he looks over at me, and he smiled, and he pulled the belts down, put the foot to the floor. He never checked up. We went into 1 and 2, come back around, 3 and 4, come back around in 1 and 2. He's trying to slide that car, seeing if it's wet. We run 4 laps, and I remember coming in, we run 4 laps, and I'm sitting there with nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to get out of here, And I said, hey, it's smoking. The car's smoking. Something's smoking. He said, oh, really? Okay, we'll go in, Red Dog, come here. Red Dog said, John Boy, he said, I had y'all at 180 mile an hour that 3rd lap.
No. Oh, my God.
And I'm sitting in the floorboard, and that's Tim Richmond. So I got something that nobody has.
Yeah, I'd say.
I did one of those.
Imagine that today.
Blew a tire.
Imagine that today, though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No.
And
no such thing as hard cards for the rest of your life.
We talk about cheating and all the things you're talking about a while ago. We all did that. Everybody there, it was about food on your table, or you go home. We did things, everybody did things, but they didn't send you home or fine you. They just took it. In a Daytona car, we'd do 10 things we know they were going to catch so we could get by with what we wanted to get by with.
100%.
If they caught 3, you got by with 7.
But they also caught things like first race Rusty won at Rusty Wallace, his first win. 5th race out with us, we won Bristol. We had a Lexan windshield in. Everybody else's was glass. NASCAR could see it flexing from the tower. They called us, won the race, went home. They called Barry, and they said, bring that windshield to Wilkesboro. Just like, he didn't say nothing. They said, bring that windshield. Barry said, okay. Because they knew what we did.
Yeah.
Barry took it out and said, here, everybody sign this windshield. We're going to give it to NASCAR. We all autographed it, and he took it and gave it to NASCAR.
I like to call that creative engineering.
Yeah, and then they eventually come out with Lexan windshields, but that right there was 70 pounds.
Yeah.
70 pounds, but we was going to smoke them anyway up there.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like, and even like when your dad raced both modifieds and, as he came up through the different series, it was almost, looking back, it was kind of like racing in the Wild Wild West.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, there was innovation.
well, yeah, and that's what I was getting
I've
at,
heard
is-
stories about my grandpa was one of the first guys that would try different tires, different compounds tires.
They run that skinny tire on the
just
left
love-
front, like a
Yeah.
trailer tire, and a big tire on the right front. But my daddy, Johnny Dodson, raced with his granddaddies. So the Myers brothers and Johnny Dodson, you'll see Daddy's won 5 feature events at Bowman Gray. He won the 200 lapper in 1957, the Tobacco Bowl, and led every lap. He told me he went to Wilkesboro when it was dirt, and he polished a cam on an Emery wheel. And he said that thing would fly.
Yeah.
And they called him, and they said, well, you can't race this. He said, he said on the pole, he said, well, let me just start the race. He said he come off of 4 and they were going into 1 when he come off of 4 after he took the green flag. Said he had to pull it in.
But that-
That's
those-
innovation, and he
right,
told me the
right.
same thing about your granddaddies. But I will tell you, the Myers name in our house was always respected. Friends, they were tight. They raced against each other, but we're always like family.
Well, that's why the Myers Brothers Award is so cherished in the
yeah.
NASCAR community.
We grew
because of
up
that.
always going and watching Gary race, because our daddies were all done, and we've always been Myers fans, like part of the family in a way. So, yeah, it was always known in our house that that's our team,
The Rural Hall gang.
the Rural Hog Gang.
The Rural Hog Gang.
Walnut Cove. Dodsons are from Walnut Cove originally, and so it's all in the same village.
When do you think, or what turned the tide for the creativity to get tampered down and it be more, I hate saying cookie cutter, but maybe better regulated, I guess.
Car tomorrow, that piece of junk car tomorrow was really bad. But when they come out with that, but we did it to ourselves. Everybody did it to ourselves, complaining. Well, the Toyota, the Fords are better, the Dodges are better. Now the Pontiacs, everybody had to get a Pontiac when we come out and started with a Pontiac. But they got one, but it wasn't our Pontiac.
Well, I was going to say, how were you able
Ours
to
was 2 inches longer than theirs.
Well, did you just get something great off the assembly line,
Well,
or how do you get 2 inches advantage?
Right. One thing is you got a driver. When you get the right driver, drivers make everybody heroes, But Rusty said, this car we just got to get some more downforce in the back end, and that's really when we started talking about downforce in the 80s, So we actually took the deck lid and just cut it, added 2 inches to it. We just slid it back and spoiler back, added 2 inches to the deck lid, and then we recut the arch. So the template would come down and fit. And NASCAR never looked at the ends of the template. So they just looked at would the 1/2-inch spacer go under it. Well, when you put it on the car, the template stopped here and the spoiler was back here 2 inches longer. It used to go all the way to the spoiler. They never
But
looked.
the template fit.
No, all the people
think
in the garage never
One
looked
thing
at
that
it.
you need to explain to people that don't understand about back then is the bodies now are all identical.
The
Back
bodies
then,
are-
it was welding, hot
I
rivets,
lived on the
Bondo.
English wheel.
Yeah.
I made fenders
So
on the
people
English wheel.
people need to understand that back then you had to home make this stuff. Like,
Everything was handmade, and you
Bondo
had to have
and
some
paint
craftsmanship about you, and you wanted to, keep Bondo out of the car for weight and everything. But all you had was a roof, a hood, and a deck lid, and that's how you started your car. And everything else you built. Now you'd use some of the trim to start with, But I did all the English wheel fenders. Barry would come in and flare the fenders, and then me and Zoomer build the cars, and yeah, you had to build everything. Then eventually you got a Kevlar nose and tail, but you had to, back when we had steel bumpers, we'd go have them cut, narrowed up, and then you'd put bumper guards on it to cover up where you cut it. But everybody did it.
Yeah.
It's just the way you raced, is that way. But now everything, I call it store-bought racing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I referred to IROC.
It's the same thing. You buy everything. All the cars are identical. When have you remember when 30 of the starting cars could win a race?
Yeah. Yeah.
The talent, still the cream rises to the top, but you got a lot of other guys that are capable of winning races now, and it's just store-bought racing.
So you think the car tomorrow is kind of what
I think that's when it really
killed
turned.
the creativity side of it?
Yeah, it kind of turned a lot, But I mean, if you look at some of the cars that like go down to North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame, I'm on the board there. It's in Mooresville. We got Tony Stewart's car in there. If you look at the wedge we built on the bodies of those cars, you can walk right up to it and look as the windshield comes down, where your hood brackets are. They're sitting over here. You got the front end sitting over here, the roof's here, the back end's over here. We built a car like that for Ernie Irvin, a Wildberry car to go to Daytona, just to handle. He mowed the field down until he wrecked it, till we got in a big wreck. But we thought, well, let's just build a full downforce car down there for the July 4th race. That's a handling racetrack. It's not not like Talladega.
Did you guys ever build a car that or make modifications to a car where somebody was like, this is too much. We just need to leave this from the shop?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We had. I won't say what car it was. I don't want to do that yet. People still alive.
Volume 1 of the,
But we
volume 1 of the book.
we had a deck lid on a race car at Talladega, at Daytona, and the deck lid fit down into a slot. So just instead of just coming in and it went into a slot. We had 2 hydraulic shafts and double panels in the back end. So when you look in the trunk, it was aluminum. When you went underneath, it was aluminum panels. But in the middle of that was 2 hydraulic shafts and a button on the driver. And when he went out to qualify, he'd mash that button, and them hydraulic shafts would pull that Kevlar back in toward him. And then that deck lid, it would fold it in, and that spoiler would come down 10 degrees. We picked up 8/10 a lap in qualifying at Daytona, or we wasn't going to be in the race.
Oh.
And then he said, well, I'm going to race it. And he raced the thing, and then it got stuck. And then the officials come up and said, what's going on here? And he said, man, I've been hit all day back in.
I was going to
He
say,
walked away.
I was going to say, that's when you brake check the guy in front of you. The
Well,
cool-down lap.
I've heard stories.
I let him tell the story. He was a good driver and a great guy, and but I'm not going to tell who it is.
I've heard stories about radio chatter when a guy would win a race, and I'm talking about in the last 20 years. Guy win the race, and when they nose them into the wall to do their burnout, make sure that they jam them hard enough or back them in hard enough to.
They also blow the tires out if they're running too low. They do all that stuff matters now. Go back to the first Winston. Darrell Waltrip hand grenaded that motor as soon as he crossed the finish line because it's a big motor. You know why? Because Dale Inman come walking by me and he grabbed me on the elbow and he said, "Go tell NASCAR to check their fuel." I'm like, you go tell him. They ain't going to listen to me. I'm 25 years old.
Well, Canals got caught with Jimmy Johnson on one of the in-car cameras saying, hey, man, if we win this thing, I need you to, And then he looks up at the camera, and I was sitting there thinking, all right, well, welcome to the modern age.
You don't win 7 championships just with a normal race car.
No, I don't have a problem with that. Like engineering is what made NASCAR.
I ain't afraid to say it. There's at least 4, maybe 5 rules in the NASCAR Well and Modified Rule Book because of me and my team.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we don't really like that, but there's not a rule against it. Mm-hmm. But then the next week there would be. Mm-hmm. So that's our job, right? And maybe the part that bothers me the most is when it happens on Sunday, it's not even a topic. Mm-hmm. Such and such has got to start last. Such and such lost his pit road selection.
Right.
Such and such got DQ'd. The crew chief, the car chief suspended. There's $100,000 fine, and it's like, right.
Right.
But you let a short track guy
Oh, yeah.
have that same issue, oh my gosh, get the cross out.
Lots more drama.
You know, so that's the part that kind of bothers me is it goes back to the sportsman thing. They're going to really give some of these guys a really hard time because the people that don't know. And we had Chase Robertson on the show. Chase, I think, has potential to have a future in racing. In
Absolutely.
NASCAR, right? This kid is well spoken. He's well mannered. He's a good racer. He drives people with respect. And it's going to put a black eye on him that he didn't deserve.
Yep.
Okay. Now, did he soak his tires? Yeah, he did. Did he get caught? Yeah, he did. But at the same time, how it was handled.
You got to look at it in the context.
And so, in my mind, handle this the way they handled it on Sunday. Hey, they got him.
Clear
All right,
cut.
let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that bothers me about how that's handled, is when a short track guy does it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. No wonder he's been winning races. When it happens on Sunday, it's like, oh yeah, that's how they do it. It's the same. It's all the same.
But, you know, I think if to your point about having rules written from stuff you did, like I was proud when I was a trooper and I would do something and a week later they come out with a new policy saying, yeah, you can't do that. You know, like at least you're out there trying to do it. You know, you're out there.
I know people
pushing the limits.
that will not push the limit. Like it's black and white. This is it. Not pushing the limit. I don't care who's doing it.
Well,
Guess where that guy runs?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean disrespect, but I'm not saying go cheat.
No.
But I'm saying like at Bowman Gray, it's always kind of been the norm that you see that guy do it and he beats you. You come back the next week, you see him do it again and he beats you. The third week, I'm doing it.
that's right. That's what we
And
did.
sometimes you get caught.
Yeah.
But it's like, wait a minute. Are we letting this go or are we not letting this go?
I don't remember ever
No.
telling on someone.
I've never,
That blows my mind.
Just do it yourself, you know, or they'll get caught eventually. But like Harry Gant was running Camber when Mr. October. He's first to Camber rear end.
Yeah.
And he won, 4 races in a row,
Now, wasn't
and
it
people didn't
something
know it.
with the
you know?
crew chief, his crew chief at the time?
Travis Carter.
There was somebody involved. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was somebody. Maybe it was with Kyle Petty or something. Was it Nelson? Help me here.
Nelson Crozier?
I forget who it was. Anyway, there was somebody that was with them, and they were doing something.
Gary Nelson.
Was it Gary Nelson? And then he moved to NASCAR.
Oh,
and then
my
busted
gosh.
them.
Oh, my gosh.
Is that true?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's truth in that. And, you know, that spoiler deal we had, I was telling you about, we fired 2 guys on the race team, and they went somewhere, and the owner said, we're going to run that at Talladega. And Barry said, no, we can't. What do you mean? He said, you fired them 2 guys. They tore our car all to pieces at Talladega before inspection, you know.
Yep.
So we had a helmet. Benny Parsons, we had a helmet in the 27 car, and we tore everything out of that helmet. It weighed 100 pounds. Full of lead, and when you went through inspection, you could leave the helmet sitting on the console on the drive shaft, you know. So then we get ready for the race, and they go, "Oh Lord, we got to get the race helmet." And well, we'd have it over on the toolbox, but then you had to put your big guy carrying that 100-pound helmet back to the truck, not like
So it didn't look like
Not like he was-
yeah, but we run that a long time. Just stuff like that, you know. Kel Yarborough, Junior Johnson had them wheels when Kel won 3 championships. He had lead poured into the wheels.
I've heard that one.
200 pounds.
And that's what they went through tech with.
You remember? You can go back and watch any of them races. Kel went backwards. Qualified bad, went backwards. But first pit stop, he mowed the field down, like swatting flies. And then he get 2 laps on the field, put them tires back on last pit stop. And
Make it look good. Don't stink the show up.
But look, they won them races, and they outsmarted you, and they beat you.
That's
and they're
right.
a winner. That I don't take nothing away from them because they outsmarted you. Me and
Right.
Jimmy, I'll tell you this one. We were at Wilkesboro, and it was 13 or 18 laps to go. We run terrible, Rusty Wallace, and caution come out. Well, when the caution come out, we thought, well, it'll be about 8 laps to go or something. And I go to Jimmy Maycar, who's a rear tire changer, did Dale Jarrett's brother-in-law and crew chief. Won all the championships there. And I said, I'm going to tighten 4 lug nuts. And Jimmy said, I'm going to tighten 3. I said, 3? You know, it's 12 lug nuts tight. I said, all right, let's get them tight. We didn't even tell Barry. We didn't tell Barry nothing. We pitted that car. We come in 6th, beat everybody out of the pits. 8 laps to go when they dropped the rag, and we won the race.
And you're sitting there just stressing.
Oh, my gosh. We go
Stress
into
and nothing
Victory Lane.
happens.
We're the first people to go up on the lift at Wilkesboro. We go into Victory Lane. we got get around with we putting lug nuts on
Yeah.
the car, with our fingers. And then the next day, writes this big article in Winston-Salem Journal about what a awesome pit crew we were. How
Daggum
you know
right.
what? We
Daggum
outsmarted
right.
them,
Right.
faster than them. But we were a fast pit crew.
There was I'll relate this to a modified story. We were at Myrtle Beach one time, and everybody knows Myrtle Beach just ate tires for breakfast, right? We were at Myrtle Beach, and back then the rules are a little bit tighter now because of stuff like this. But back then you didn't get you got an emergency tire. So let's say you started a race on 4 and you got one new change tire. Well, if you had a flat go down during the race, you had an emergency tire you could put on. So it was like an extra tire. So even though your bad fortune could end up, you get an extra tire out of the deal. So people would play games like that. There was a particular driver, we found out later, they went out and put a few laps on a new tire in practice and then poked a hole in it and plugged it like a street car plug and cut it off real short. That tire, it was the tire they qualified on. I got that wrong. It was the right rear that they qualified on. They poked a hole in it, put a plug in it. So we say 30 laps into the race, that plug is wore down enough it starts leaking.
Oh, wow.
So then they got that extra tire to put on and won the race. And people, I can't believe it. I said, pretty darn sharp right there, boys.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I don't take it away
I
from
can't
me.
be mad at that guy. Listen, because show me the rule. Show me the rule. Because I'm that guy. Show me the rule.
Well,
I want to know the rule. Show me the rule. What did he do wrong?
Right.
What did he do wrong?
That's innovation right there.
That's,
Just
man,
like
that's
Harry
pretty
Gant.
sharp.
Then they let everybody start cambering your rear ends after Harry, but you had a limit on what you could do.
Yeah.
And we started heating them up and cambering them.
Yeah.
But that
I don't think it's anybody, we can blame it on that car tomorrow or whatever, but I think it's had to come to this. Like when the Smart Series first started, you had like 5 rules.
Yeah.
And do I think maybe it's gotten out of hand to a certain point? Yeah, it probably has. But at the same time, the rule, I'll tell you this. So the rule when Smart first started back up, the body rule for the bodies on those modifieds, tour type appearing body. So if you showed up and your car official says, okay, yeah, everything looks like it's pretty good. It was fine. Well, now we've got gauges and templates and all that in the modifieds. So what happens is, guy shows up, his C-post is that tall in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And they let it go. The next week he shows up, it's this tall. Next thing you know, it's up here. So you have to have rules to a certain extent to keep it reined in, because you can't give a racer an inch or they're going to take a mile. So I get part of that, but it is.
Well, NASCAR changed when they put the cars on the ground. When you
No ride height.
No, when you put that aerodynamics on the ground in the front, when we had air under the car and steel bumpers, and they had to let out the gas in Daytona, that's when it changed.
Right.
Of course they were inverting cars, but now you got aero push, and you're never gonna get rid of it unless you let air get back under that car, and they're not gonna do it because the car.
Well, I've said for years, this has been years ago, people talk about how bad the racing is. Like it's not entertaining anymore. I said, tell you what, put them in the old Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
Put them in an old Oldsmobile back in the day with a skinny tire on it.
Yeah.
And see how many of these guys can get out there. Because in my mind, it's not about, that's what I like about short track racing, is you don't run qualifying laps every lap.
Yep.
To me, fall off is what creates good racing. In Cup, they run qualifying laps every single lap. And they sit, and it's just like this.
Oh, yeah.
They're just sitting here like this.
It's just like a game.
And I relate it to like when I tested at ARCA car at Daytona. Well, how was that? I said, you feel like you're going down I-40. And it's more mental, because you go in the corner and you go, you're wide open. And you think to yourself as you're going down the backstretch, when I get back down there, I'm going to do that a little different. You don't have that luxury when you're short track racing.
Yeah.
You forgot about what just happened.
Short track
You know what I
racing
mean?
is still the grassroots. That's
Absolutely.
what racing was in the 80s.
Right.
Is just like short track racing now. That's what it was. But it's a different game now.
The aero stuff in my mind
All
is
about air.
The aero is what, I don't want to say it didn't ruin racing, but that's when it changed it.
Yeah.
Whenever you started,
Exactly right.
whenever you started making aero important, and whenever you think about, I remember being at Wilkesboro, and I'm pretty sure it was during the Mr. September time. Harry Gant didn't have both front fenders, a hood, or a front bumper.
Running everybody.
They won the race. That's racing. Whenever you take now and a guy comes off pit road and they bump, and it ruins his day,
Yeah.
that's hard for a guy like me to understand.
Mhm.
That's not racing.
No,
Yeah.
that's
The
not.
guy that can manage it when he does have a problem. Well, now if they have a problem, they're out.
Mhm.
And so that's when it, to me, when the arrow's kind of what took away the.
Yeah. Year we won the championship, I think we won 3 or 4 races, and we were 1 or 2 laps down and come back to win them.
Yeah.
You can look back at all those. I mean, we won the 500 3 laps down because of a battery, and everybody swears we cheated, but we were good.
Did you just have to get a lap down to get
We
motivated?
had to get a lap down before we knew what to do. That was our motto.
Yeah, right.
We had a song, had to get a lap down before we knew what to do.
Well, with all the drivers you've worked with and teams and all the personalities and all that stuff, who was the most fun as far as like the team, the atmosphere, regardless of results?
Yeah.
As far as just the whole thing. I mean, everybody knows back in the day, it was a lot more work. I mean, don't get me wrong. The teams nowadays work, but I'm saying it's just
No, it
different.
was a lot more then.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's what I'm
we
saying.
drove to the racetracks. You'd go in the body shop, you'd hang the body, then you might get in the truck and drive to the track, and then you're lucky if we only flew to Riverside on Eastern Airlines. That's that's the early 80s, but let's see. Cal Yarborough, he just knowing Cal, he didn't know nothing about the car, never asked about the car, If it wasn't right, he said, well, I'll just tighten these gloves up a little bit. We'll be all right,
That's what I'm
Or
talking
he'd say,
about.
don't touch it or something like that. But he didn't. He got in that car and drove that car, period. Best raw talent I've ever seen. Tim Richmond, the fun factor was off the charts with Tim. And then we got Rusty. The fun factor wore out with Tim because Tim become more of, and people, criticize me that I'm talking junk about Tim Richmond. I am not.
You got
love
firsthand
Tim
experience.
Richmond.
I mean, you're not
But
telling.
he got to it ran its course when he was at old Milwaukee team. He wanted to be a movie star. He was back and forth. He slept through qualifying at Atlanta, and we went out for the second round of qualifying, and we've run fast enough to sit on the pole. Well, he was just hurting everybody on the team that was
Right.
working so hard. So Raymond said, go. Hendrick wanted him. We got Rusty. We couldn't win with Tim consistent. We got Rusty won the 5th race out. And Tim started winning with Hendrick. So that was good. So party-wise, it was Tim. Talent-wise, Rusty knew everything about that car. He's, just everything. That helps you. Like I said a while ago, drivers make great heroes out of anybody. A great driver does. But raw talent would be Cal Yarborough. The most fun was Tim Richmond. And then through the 80s were Rusty and the team. You didn't have people or friends outside of racing. Your team and all their families was all we knew. But you were all in. I mean, to win a championship then, without this system they have now, you had to win that championship.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah.
But racing, racing to me was better then. It was better. You could pass more and things like that. But the racing, to argue racing the NASCAR isn't good, I argue with that. I think the NASCAR racing is good. When other teams can win races now, but it's good when you run in these pack races, and I mean it's intense.
From a fan's perspective, I agree.
Yeah.
I like the Atlanta race is one of my favorite races to watch.
That's where they need to take the All-Star race
Yeah.
next. I don't want
Yeah.
it to leave Wilkesboro, but man, you talk about a good All-Star race,
Yeah.
and it's a Bruton track, so
Yeah.
it'd be a good one down there. I'm sure they'll get there eventually.
When you see in the past, all these drivers that you've seen come up and work with in different areas, what do you think? Because you're obviously still involved with racing. What do you think the difference is with the old school up and coming drivers and the new school up and coming drivers?
Old school up-and-coming drivers, most of them didn't have anything, had nothing to lose. Bud Moore used to say drivers are a dime a dozen. That was his saying. I never thought of it like that. But, Curtis Turner didn't have anything. The Myers guys didn't have anything. They had to get out there and race and put food on your table. Cale didn't have anything. He drove for just percentage. Pearson, the Petties, they didn't have anything. They all earned it. And now it's not talent as much as it's money. If you want to get into business, it's all about money first. Now, if you want to get into business, but the talent's still there and the cream still rises to the top. But you got to win. If you're going to get to the next level, you got to win at the level you're at.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I've seen it. We built engines for all the K&N, so we built engines for Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola, all those as they come up through there, and you could see that they had the talent to get there, and all went on to be successful. So it's a combination of both, but money talks now.
Yeah, it's. I remember we've talked about this before when the K&N came over to the stadium back in what was it, like 11, 20,
My
probably
years run
12,
together.
something
Yeah,
like
it's been
that.
a little while.
And I was walking around talking to some of the teams and some of the drivers, and I remember pretty much it was if you want to drive, anybody can come drive one of these cars. It's just $40,000.
You can pay for it, yeah. I mean, that's what Andy Hillenberg does now. You know, we
Yeah.
build their engines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's insane to me. I mean, like just anybody can drive. $40,000.
The look on people's faces when they say they come up to you and you're winning at a local short track. Why ain't you racing Cup? And you go,
Why aren't you the president of the United
right?
States? I mean,
And they
it's
say,
money.
"Well, what do you mean? But you win race?" I said, "Let me help you understand how this could work."
Yeah.
Potentially. So you could have a 14-year-old son, and you hit the lottery tonight, and you go to one of these teams and say, "Hey, what's it going to take for my kid to be the next Jeff Gordon?" Guess what? Won't be long, and your kid will be the next in that position. Now he won't
Yeah.
be that. He could not
Right.
be that.
But if he don't win,
Successful.
Daddy's going to spend some money, and you're going to get an education.
Yep.
So it's about the money. It's about you still have to be talented, and what people don't understand. And I've learned this, and it helped me understand it more when I drove that Cup car. And people say, "What's the biggest difference between a modified and a Cup car?" The biggest difference is the harder you drive a Cup car, the slower it goes.
Yeah.
Right. So it is about your equipment, but at the same time, it's about understanding how to get the best out of that car. So people have to understand that whether you like the person that won that past weekend on Sunday, or whether you think that they deserve to be there, if that guy won, he still
beat almost
still
40
good.
other guys.
he
He
Yeah.
takes
did.
something. He can still
Yeah.
drive a
He
race car.
won at the highest
He
level.
won at the highest level. So you have to understand that it's not just, oh, well, he's in a good car and he shouldn't be there, or he this or he that, or she, whatever, however you want to look at it. But if they can, they're there doing it.
One thing they forget is they've lost 5 races that way.
Yeah.
How many have you lost?
Right.
And you come back and you win one. So it was a sport in the 80s. It's a much more of a business.
It's
now.
a business.
It was
Yeah.
sport and entertainment. Now it's business and entertainment.
Well,
More so than ever. So you need to spread the wins around. You need to spread you got to spread it around. And they've done it with this car.
how often did you have attorneys involved in y'all's daily operations?
Just when the
back
team
then?
shut down, I was on. That's
Right.
it.
But
You know?
now, I mean, you it seems like there can't be a decision made,
Yeah.
with these Cup guys without some kind of litigious backlash. I mean, don't say this, don't say that. You got to wear this, you got to wear that. I mean, like, it's just.
Oh, they
that's
make
why-
all the decisions. I mean, look what happened with Roger Penske and at Indy. He owns the team, he owns the track, and somebody's complaining about a little part on that car that didn't matter, and he had to go and eliminate people.
Yeah.
Did he do that to save his reputation? Did he do it? That's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mess right there. And believe me, it was a lot of people involved, in that than just what Roger's thinking.
No, yeah,
And he's running it all, but there's still people. who
But he
have
stood up and
influence.
took accountability. I'll give him that. I
Well-
mean, he stood up and faced the cameras.
Yeah, but I wonder, did he know that was on that car himself?
Well, that's a very good question.
There's a lot more to it probably, and I don't want to get focused on that. But yeah, the point is there's a lot more people involved and attorneys. When we raced, it was not like it was gunslinging racing. I was in the men's league. I had 5 lug nuts to tighten on the tire.
That's right.
I raced in the men's league. And they didn't have all the safety stuff and
No pit road speed and all
no
that
pit
stuff.
road speed. I've been clipped and jumped over hoods and.
I heard guys
swirled
used to
around.
have nitrous bottles like in their suit.
I don't know about that. In their the
Driver's
drivers
suit.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I
yeah.
know of a driver that had a nitrous bottle in his. It was on him
No way.
when he got out of
thing
the
goes
car
no.
at Talladega and left. The bottle was on him, and you'll have to ask DW about that one. I don't know.
Don't know who it is, but if
Yeah,
I see
but
DW, ask him.
yeah, I know David Ift had it in the tube, and some had it in the radiator, and different things like that. But he told me that Darrell had it on him when he left the car. And then, like I told you about the switches and things like that,
Yeah.
the driver, crazy. Drivers are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
but I mean the
But look,
ingenuity.
you had a banjo seat, no leg braces. I remember we were the first ones we wrecked on the tire test, and Rusty bent the seat all out of place. So I put a brace on the seat and run it to the back bar. First ones to ever do that. NASCAR made a rule. Then Neil Bonnet wrecks it, blows a tire at Charlotte. His right leg wraps around the shifter. Okay? So then we put leg braces in the car. So little by little by little, by pain and hurt and misery, and you keep adding on. They didn't have all that stuff, man. Richard Petty rolled it, all them cars with a banjo seat and shoulder belts.
You know
And neck stretching and run with a broke neck.
I remember when they first implemented the headrest on the modifieds.
Yeah.
You didn't have a headrest.
Nothing.
And then you had a right side headrest. And if I'm telling the story right, when Frank Fleming driver's side first at Wilkesboro, and that's after that he hit his head, and they started doing the double.
Was that Puddin's wreck didn't have anything to do with that?
We already had headrest by then, I think.
Oh.
He did passenger side
Okay.
at Caraway. Frank,
You don't think of it till it happens.
right.
Well,
Look at what I tell people. Look at where we are now since Earnhardt got killed.
It made all the difference.
It made
in the world.
dude. That
Well, look at
that's-
Stuart Friesen's wreck. I mean,
Yeah, God.
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder. I've heard, and I don't know, and please don't dog me for this. But I don't know. I've heard that the dirt, some of the dirt series don't have the safety stuff that
Right, because
NASCAR
they're
stuff
not
does.
regulated. Just won't
right.
pop up tracks and all
Right.
that.
So I'm curious if I don't know. Please don't. I
I
hope
mean,
people don't say. Because he could have had everything. He could have had everything he needed in that car. Still accidents happen. But I just wonder, and I relate that back to when I drove that super modified. There was nobody to regulate the safety. And Randy LaJoy told me they put the seat in that car that I wrecked, and they had to cut the rib supports off of it to fit it in the car. And the bars, the roll cage bars, go right down your side. He told me, if somebody crashes this car hard, it's going to break their ribs.
Guess what?
He was right.
Happy Rib Day.
But my point to that is I've never knocked safety. Because it's there to keep us alive and keep us from getting hurt. So I'm just wondering if the dirt series, and I'm so ignorant when it comes to that, the dirt stuff. I wonder if it was what kind of safety stuff was actually in the car. I don't know. It could have had the top of the line. I don't know.
Well, from what I've read and the statement from his wife and everything, is that apparently all of his safety gear is probably what kept him here with us.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, man.
That's good to know.
I hope he heals.
And you can't imagine that somebody of his status would be in a car that's not up to date.
Yeah.
But
100%.
I don't mean up to date. When I say up to date, at what point do you see these Cup guys sitting in them cars with these monstrous headrests and all this stuff, and they can't move their
Somebody's
hand.
got to tell them where they're at and what's going on.
So is it like that, or is it like maybe some of the modifieds at Bowman Gray Stadium?
Right.
You know what I mean? Now listen, I feel like my car's safe. Could it be safer? Probably. They could all be safer. So that's what I meant by that.
No, I know, yeah.
But you can imagine somebody like Stuart Friesen's not going to cut corners when it comes to something.
I think it'd been a different story if it wasn't for soft walls. If it's still hitting concrete walls.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
I'd rather you not call them soft, because they're not soft.
no, they're not soft, but the term, that's what they use.
Let me tell you something. The walls at Bowman Gray Stadium right now are doing more damage.
Yeah.
And hurt
We always
more
said
than
they would.
ever have.
When they put them up, we said, boy, this is going to.
That hit in that Cup car is the hardest hit I've ever had at the stadium. And then if you look at some of the accidents some guys have had, and I say in the modifieds, I know the other series too, but in the modifieds, because you got open wheels. The night that Slate hit a couple weeks ago, I watched the video. It did look like he hit hard. Dude, it knocked the rack plate out of that car. The rack sitting in the car sideways. We had to put a lower cross member in that car. And it didn't look bad at all. But the walls are just not giving. So when people say soft walls, I'm like, call them safer barriers.
Safer barriers.
Safer barriers, yeah. Well, I mean,
soft.
till they softened these cars up. Bowman broke his back, called Kurt Busch is out.
Yeah.
Till they softened up the front of the cars. Too rigid. you
Yeah.
know. And everything's a experiment.
Yeah.
I think I saw a story where one of the cars you guys had built, you had some ungodly amount of fuel hose wrapped up inside of it, and you took the fuel tank out, and the car kept running for like 10
That's
minutes.
at Nashville. In Nashville, it's Tim Richmond's car, and I don't know how many feet we had rolled up fuel line up under the dash of that car, but we cranked the car up, took the fuel tank. We took the fuel tank out and cranked the car up to run it, and it sat there and run. I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes, something like that, and the fuel cell sitting on the ground.
I love that.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
love it.
That's innovation right
that's
there.
Well,
They didn't say your fuel line had to be 16 feet. They said you had to have a steel braided fuel line.
yeah,
Well,
got it. Check the block.
we bought all
Right.
they had.
right.
So nowadays, you've kind of stepped back from the hands-on in NASCAR and everything.
Mhm.
I'm curious to hear about what you're doing now and how it's grown.
Yeah.
How you got into that position, because
Yeah.
it's a widely respected. I mean, it's the cream of the crop, and I'm interested to hear how that came about and what you all are doing now.
Yeah, I raced till I raced till I was 40. Worked for a lot of Hall of Fame drivers: Cal Yarborough, Benny Parsons, Tim Richmond, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvin, Richard Petty, and Kyle Petty twice. Kyle Petty on the Mellow Yellow cars, and then we won the championship with Rusty. And then, when we left Rusty, like I said, great drivers make you or break you. We struggled for a few years. Of course, I went with Ricky Rudd. We won the Brickyard there. I was his shop foreman, and we had the Duke's Mayonnaise car there in Mooresville, and we were shutting our race team down. And they said, well, let's build a NASCAR school in Mooresville. And I started talking to these folks, and we're shutting the race team down, and it's Universal Technical Institute in Phoenix, and they're known for automotive and diesel training. And they said, I had like 5 lunches with a guy who was going to be the campus president, and he had come here from Phoenix, and he said, you think you can do our NASCAR program? And some people had mentioned me, and he had 5 subjects on a sheet of paper: engines 1, engines 2, fabrication, aerodynamics. He said, can you make that happen? I said, we can make that happen. I had a chance to go to work for Dale Earnhardt, working on speedway cars, because we were renting our motors from him, and our coast down numbers were better than his. We'd go over and use a dyno, so they offered me a job. And Tommy Cross at Earnhardt Chevrolet, he offered me a job too. He said, you're shutting your team down. Well, then this school thing, I said, you know what? I can always build race cars. I've been doing it. I'm 40 years old my whole life, since I was a teenager. I can go back to that. I thought, I'm going to try this thing right here. Keeps me home. I was tired of the road,
Mhm.
And so we opened it in 2002. I designed the NASCAR program. I hired people. I hired Glenn Feisty. He was on the 4 Daytona 500 rings. He wrote engine curriculum. I wrote the chassis applications curriculum and aerodynamics and body. I did all the, I lived on an English wheel and hung bodies. So we got it going. And then Doug Yates was the first team anywhere. He said, we're gonna hire one of your graduates. We're gonna try you out. He hired in 2004, when we started having graduates, beginning 2004, late 2003, he hired 10 graduates for Robert Yates Racing and the engine shop when they were Robert Yates.
Mhm.
They won the championship. Roush
Wow.
Yates Engines won the championship. So we had 10 graduates in 2004, the first year out, win rings for championships. Well, Doug's never let up. He's hired 180 plus graduates from us now from
Wow.
CNC. So my role now, I'm Vice President of Business Alliances in NASCAR, handling all our sponsorships and partnerships for all of UTI. We got 14 campuses across the country, and
Okay.
we'll have 16 next year. Handling sponsorships, but then we're based in Mooresville, Race City, USA, and I work with all the top racing teams, and I make sure that the talent that comes through gets fit with the right team. I got a kid that's getting ready to go to the Penske IndyCar team when he graduates. I just this week, Roush Fenway, they text me. Jeremy Bullets just texted me last week, hey, I need some talent. Constantly going on. People say, well, what happens when the new car comes along? We've never checked up. They always want new talent. They don't have time to train them. Richard
Right.
Childress taught me how to do things, and my brother Barry taught me how to do things. Now we got a school. When they get a kid from us, they want them to hit the ground running. So I've got kids working internships at Penske's while they're in school, paid internships, basically a part-time job. They move them around the shop to find their best fit, and when they graduate, they hire them. Now they have to have when you put on we talked about it a while ago, you put on a Shell Pennzoil uniform, you're representing $1
Absolutely.
billion company.
Yeah.
I need professionals. I
Right.
don't need donkeys. I need thoroughbreds.
Right.
And that's what I send to the team. So they got to be, like a 3.8 GPA, high professionalism, clean cut, ready to go kids that young men and women that we'll send out to the team. So now been there 23 years. We have graduates on every truck team, every Xfinity team, and every Cup team, and every race every Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we win every single week. We're in victory lane.
There's no better testament to what you've done and built than what you just said.
Well, I didn't. I started. We got a great group of people, and these I call them kids. They are kids to me, but they're young men and women. They earn it. The ones that move here from across the country and come in here and put all the effort in, they're earning that opportunity. And then don't waste it. We're going to get you there.
Right.
And they've done it. I mean, we've got 22 graduates on Penske's IndyCar team now. You go through the Indy shop and everybody there is, hey, John, hey, Mr. Dodson, still calling me. I was just there a few weeks ago, and I'm sending this most recent one to the IMSA team. So monster trucks, NHRA, we got them everywhere. Ron Cap's a good friend of mine. And he's, they're hiring people all the time through the industry. Now they know I'm a racer, so they know they trust my cell phone. They trust what I send them, and I can't send them anything, subpar. Phone quits ringing, or it rings in a bad way.
I didn't realize that that the school had such a pipeline going into all these different teams.
You have to be that. And, we're not called the NASCAR Technical Institute anymore because now we're teaching all these trades. We're teaching HVAC and refrigerant. We're teaching welding only, CNC training and machining only. You talk about careers, CNC training, 36-week program to a job working for Roush Yates Manufacturing Solutions and working CNC. Making six figures in a few years if you apply yourself, So we're teaching all these different things now, and we were kind of identified as a racing school only. We're still the official NASCAR partner for education. We're still everything about NASCAR is the same, but we're just identified as Universal Technical Institute. We're really proud of all we've accomplished with Burt and our engines. We have a program. It's honor students get into this program. And Darrell Hoffman is our main engine builder there, championship engine builder. His son's Nick Hoffman. Google that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Google that one. He's awesome. So Darrell oversees these honor students that come in there and earn their way in, and they build Burt's engine. And I mean, physically, every bit of it. And he stands there with his arms folded and makes sure they do it right and won 11 championships.
So how did you end up getting up with John and his program to do your motors?
I don't know exactly how
about that.
I don't know how. I think
I asked you
and
to
my
let
dad
you-
maybe had a conversation about it, or I don't remember exactly how it happened.
It was really from Gary, because I go way more back with Gary. I'm a little older than Burt, 15 years older than Burt, but or 14, maybe not that much. But we working on engines for Gary, and we have to do this legally too. And I want to say this: if anybody ever thinks Burt's engine's cheated up, we cannot cheat. We cannot be the official education partner of NASCAR and cheat. We're talking about maybe doing some work for Ben Kennedy's engines. The last thing we can do is send a motor out of there that isn't perfect and right. And I'm proud of what we've done and winning races straight up, especially with Burt. But I was dealing with Gary and talking to him, and he'd want us to do a little bit on the engines. And I told Burt, I said, you ought to let us build your engines. I said, we'll build you a good engine. And I think that's how it went. And Burt's like, that's a big step.
It is.
To win races like he's done and think about changing. And when he come down and looked at it and I showed him how it all worked, it's real beneficial, and we're proud to have our logo on that race car and on slates and on Jason.
Yeah. That's been and when the protest came about, however many weeks ago.
Save your money. I'm telling you, everybody out there, save your money.
I'm sitting there thinking,
no, it didn't bother me because I put a little cash.
Well, you put cash in your pocket, but I'm just
but
telling
I know what you mean.
We can't do that. Now, here I said about all we did when I raced.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah, it was totally different. But also, I still have a good reputation, I think I do in the NASCAR garage. I can get in any door, and I've treated people. They did the same thing I did. You know what I mean? We race, but we can't do that.
No, I mean, and if you did, I mean, it would. There's way too much on the line. There's way too much.
I've told
my
people,
job first.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
well, I've told people that we never even got. Not that we would have, but we never got the opportunity to even ask. Can we do this? John said right up front, don't even ask. I said, fair enough. And our Ford Motors and our parts, and we're fortunate enough to have partners that, that help fund our team to be able to get parts. Because here's the deal with motors.
It's hard to find.
It's not like a Cup motor, okay? in short track racing, on a built engine, what Banjo used to say, money by speed, how fast you want to go. And so we're fortunate enough to have the budget and the parts and an engine builder like Daryl
No, he's awesome.
to have motors that perform at a
Yeah.
top notch. You
Yeah.
know, so it was a perfect storm.
Yeah,
To get
I
all
just
together,
sit
but-
back and watch.
Yeah.
All I did was
Yeah.
just try to put everybody together.
Yeah.
And I did all right at that. And I just
Yeah.
sit back and watch. I love coming to Bowman Gray. I come through the pits every week and then go sit with all the boys from Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet. They're there every week. And, and they're like, "You want to go up here?" I said, I like watching it from the stands.
Yeah.
Just don't give me a radio.
Yeah.
Don't Slate. I said, I'll spot for you.
Yeah.
Give me-"
Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, sorry, I'm getting a little bit older and my brain quit working for a second. Do y'all work at all in partnership with UNC Charlotte,
No,
with
we
their
don't.
race program?
No,
Or
they
is
have
that
now.
two
Now I will
totally
tell you
different
this: I'm on the board for the North Carolina Motorsports Association, so we're all together on that. Motorsports in North Carolina, that's a priority for all of us. Whether
Right.
we compete against we don't compete against other educators. They're in engineering school. We don't do engineering. We're the hands-on guys.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're good at what they do. I've had students come to my school, and most recently I had a kid from Connecticut. He went to the University of Connecticut. He's an engineer. He come to our school. He didn't know how to apply it to a race car. So he enrolled. I said, we're going to show you that. I got him an internship at 23 at Bubba, that
Jordan's
23
Place.
Jordan's
23XI. Yeah.
Got him an internship now. Now he's in the war room. He ain't been there a year, and he's an engineer, and he knew how to apply it to a race car. I also have had a kid come to school, and he said, Mr. Dodson, I know you got me a job at Roush Yates, but I'm not going to take that job. I said, what? He said, I'm going to Virginia Tech, get my engineering degree, then I'll come back, and I'll know how to apply it to a race car. I got up and gave him a hug.
Yeah, I mean, that's
brilliant. son,
yeah.
Yeah.
because this is an engineering sport now.
Yeah,
And back
100%.
when we raced, we hated engineers.
Right.
We didn't want them around us
Right.
because they hadn't done it.
Now he's on speed dial.
and now engineers, now our generation, you're old school.
Yeah.
You're out of the way. You got to have your engineer.
Yeah, it's cool because when we come down there to bring a motor or do something, run a dyno, because they got a chassis dyno and an engine dyno that we're fortunate enough to have at our leisure. But when we come in, you hear the lug nuts flying, the kids out there practicing their pit stops. And you walk through and they're fabricating, and
Mm-hmm.
you got all the older cup cars and all sitting in there, and
Yeah.
the kids are up under them and measuring, and it's just
Well,
cool to watch when you come through there. When I'm going in there to see Daryl and to see these kids in
Yeah.
there hands on, because it's so nice to see that instead of sitting back playing on the phone.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
yeah, and they've drove across. They got off the couch. That's what I
Yes,
call it.
Yes.
A kid from Iowa comes in there, and then Tim Cendrick, before he left Penske, he would just say, "You got any Midwestern kids? I need a couple." That Midwestern work ethic,
Yeah.
and they're amazing. But they got off the couch. They drove across the country. They enrolled in school. They're making the grade. They might be struggling. They're working a part-time job. Well, that's the difference maker.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the hustle.
So it already
That's the hustle.
tells you the ones, and you can stand in that, and they can walk by. And I said, "There's one right there."
Yeah.
And you can go get them, clean cut, ready to go, minding their own business, focused, and it happens. So, all you young ones out there that want to do it, we're telling you right now, this is how it is. Kel Yarborough told me one time. He said, "What's the difference in Tim Richmond?" We were sitting on the truck at Daytona clocking cars. This is after he's driving the Hardy's car then, and we got Rusty. He said, "What's the difference in Tim Richmond and Rusty?" And I said, "Man, Rusty just wants to drive that race car and win races." I said, "Tim had other things," and he said, "Rusty's got it in his heart, ain't he?" He said, "It's all in his heart. He got heart and wants to drive that car." And not knocking Tim, he was just focused differently.
Yeah,
He wanted to
different.
drive that car to show off.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do other things, but he could drive that car. And Kel made that statement to me. He said, and I'll never forget that. He said he had it in his heart. And I thought, I hoped that I was that way, that I wanted to race because I love it so much,
Well, it had to show, or
It's
you wouldn't
all
have.
I ever wanted to do. And if I had it to do over, I think I might take Birch Path and race my own car and do it all for myself. But we had nothing, and our route was build cars, and at least I get to travel and pit a car and do all that. But I always thought if I did it over, I'd take Birch route and race for myself.
I can relate to that. because I have, because as you can imagine, I have a lot of people say, why do you keep doing what you're doing?
Oh my gosh, you
Like
love it.
what we do on the weekends, without getting too much details. Why do you keep doing that? I care too much.
It's your
I
life.
love it too much.
Yeah.
And especially with the modifieds, it's not like dirt cars or late model stocks where you can pick from about 5 different places to go on a Saturday night. If I want to race, there's one place I have to go. And that's why I keep doing it. And do we suffer and do we put up with a lot? And do we go through a lot? And sometimes you're the hero, sometimes you're the zero. But it's because I love it. It's because I love it. And it's my fault. It's my own fault. Uncle Frank used to say, well, don't complain because you keep going back.
That's right.
But I keep going back because that's what I want to do.
And I hope you come back for many years.
Even in situations where there's some drama goes down and an incident goes down, and you're sitting there and you're analyzing how much damage do I have or what next. For me, what next is win. Win. The other night, whenever all that went down, in my mind, all right, if I get going here and we get a draw, I can
What
win this.
position do I need?
Never,
Right, yeah.
nothing else ever enters your mind.
Never focus on
That's
anything
right.
except going to win. And that's why I keep doing what I'm doing. I must be crazy.
Keep
Same-
doing it.
Same question for both of you. I'll start with John first. Right now, with all of the knowledge that you have, the experience that you have, all the relationships that you have, if you walked away from your current job, but you were going to stay in racing, what would you do if that day happened tomorrow?
Yep. Well, that's one reason I don't want to walk away from my job is because I'm still involved. I never gave up racing. I just didn't have to fix wrecks anymore and travel like that, But if I gave it up now, if I walked away from my job, and now it starts to enter your mind. I'll be 64 in a week or two. But I still feel like I got a lot in the tank. You know what I mean? But I never want to quit going to the racetrack. So I'm on the board for the NCMA. They're looking for a new director. I considered, do I want to do this? But the timing's not right.
Sure.
But I'd love to be the director of the executive director of the North Carolina Motorsports Association. And that's grassroots dirt. That's everything. That's from the license plates on your car to the businesses to I'd love that role someday if it's right, but I never want to ever not be associated with racing. I don't never see myself that way. And look, I'm not famous. I could have been a crew chief. Felix Sabatis offered me a crew chief for Kyle Petty, but I also know what toll it takes on you. My brother lost his wife, children, physically, lost his children and all the pain he went through. And I said, I don't never want all of that. No car is worth your family and your, all that. You got to prioritize all that stuff. So I could have been more if I'd have given up more and went to do all that. I chose the other route. I'm not well known. I'm Barry's brother. I'm a Dodson, but I'm a racer. I am a racer, and I always have been, and I love it. I'm a laid back racer now. Don't give me no wrench. I just like sit here and watch y'all do it. I've been there and done it in the men's league.
Now,
I thought you'd say a gardener. Have you seen this guy's garden?
I'm a better gardener than I am a racer.
Dude.
same question
So
for
if
you.
there's a garden hall of fame, I've seen his.
I enjoy it.
He brought a tomato from Mama. I made Mama give me one.
I told her to share them.
Slate doesn't like them and Kim doesn't like them.
Yeah.
So I've got
I said,
a
"You share
tomato.
these."
It's about that big around on my windowsill waiting to
It's not
fix
a
me
tomato,
sandwich.
that's a beach ball.
So anyway, I was just joking
It's
with John.
it's my gym.
We always look at the pictures of his garden and stuff. So I know same answer. I don't know what the role would be, but I can't ever see myself doing anything that doesn't involve racing at some level. It's a little different with me because I have Slate to focus on now with him coming up. So it would probably be something to do with him. But if I think about if it wasn't for that, it would have to be being involved with a team.
Look at your daddy.
Somehow, yeah.
He's there.
To. You know what I mean? When my dad's health is not great, he rides around and we call it his four-wheeler, his little scooter. It's what he calls it. Some days my dad can't get out of the bed. But when's the last time you can remember him missing a race at Bowman Race Day?
That's the first person I walk to every time I get there is just
you don't see him as often.
Put your arm around Gary. How you doing, partner?
So it's just how we were brought up, and maybe maybe that sometimes is some of the parts that maybe gets to me is when I see guys that don't have that same passion.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
participate.
Exactly.
And I'm like, if
Yeah.
you're not going to give the same
It
effort I
upsets you,
do,
doesn't it?
stay out of my way.
Yeah.
Stay out of my way. And that's they call it a hobby.
So true.
This is the furthest thing from a hobby that there's ever been.
And race fans are the same. I think race fans think just like we're thinking. They never want to not be away from a race car.
Right.
They sit there and dream about, wow, I wonder if I ever would have pursued that or what it could have been for me. But they're going to be in the stands and they're going to pay your salary and all that stuff. We never can forget about the fans.
Right.
No.
Barry and us, we had a ball with race fans. We just interacted. You know, if they wanted to come in the truck or come in the shop,
yeah.
you know, that's the
We had a family
Bread
come by
and
the shop
butter.
yesterday. I said, hey, you don't have to ask.
yeah.
If the door's I tell people, this is what I tell people. If the door's open, come on in.
Yeah, and
Come
they're
on
listening to this. You know, we
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah. Well, and then on the same kind of level as that is our crew.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pay our crew members. We buy their pit pass as a way to bribe them to come. But no, they do it for the same reason we do it,
Passion.
because they love it.
Mhm.
Because they love it. And I think about, sometimes I feel selfish because I think about what my guys do for us and our family. Because we bring 5 cars to Bowman Gray on Saturday
Yeah.
night, right? And 3 of them are active with me, Slate, and Jason. And I think about my mindset is there's no question where I'm going to be on Saturday night. And sometimes when I sit back, and Slate calls them shower thoughts, right? There's shower thoughts. You know, you do some of your best thinking in the shower. And I think to myself, these guys come over there and they could be doing so much
Oh yeah.
different stuff.
Mhm.
Like they don't have everything invested that I have invested, and they could go to the beach or go do this or go do that. Well, guess what? They come to Bowman Gray Stadium on Saturday night. They go to smart races with me. They do this, and they're excited about going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that means we're doing something right in this world we call racing, that it is that exciting that people want to have something to do with it at some level.
They got it in their heart.
They
too.
got it in their heart.
Yep. That's what I had.
That's the main point, is that it's in their heart. They love it and they want to be a part of it.
Well, that's why I asked you about the different cultures and who did you have the most fun with, because I think, and I've always been a big believer in leadership, right? Like you lead people, you manage production, and if guys have fun and they feel like they're valued, those are the ingredients that
They'll go to the mattress for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
100%.
And I always said this. I learned the most out of the worst bosses I ever had. That's where you learn the most, out of the biggest idiots, the biggest buttholes, the biggest.
Yep.
You're going to learn the most, because you're like, when I'm the boss, I'm not going to treat people
Right.
like that.
That's exactly
I'm
right.
not going to work people like that, and I don't. You
Yep.
got to have a quality of life and a home and all these things. You know, Barry, when you work with family, it's tough. Tougher than a Dodge truck to work with family. I'm telling you. So it was brutal at times, but the good times were awesome.
Right.
You know, and then winning certainly cures everything. I think your question was who we had the most fun with. I had the most misery with my brother and the most fun with my brother as a crew chief. But he was a crew chief. He raced. I mean, he used to build model cars when we were kids, and he was 8 years older than me. And he built Gary's modified out of a model car, and he would take straws at bend and make exhaust pipe. And he a real craftsman, and he turned into this amazing race car builder. You know that you got to have this in your heart. And he'd come out of his bedroom going up the hall to get something to drink, and he'd be like a race car and run out against the hallway and go up the hall driving a race car. Well, we won a championship.
Yeah.
We used to race boxes in the yard, you know, things like that. So we had the best fun. But, you know, then when we separate, I'm like, I'm glad I'm away from my brother now. You know,
Right.
you can be your own guy and things like that. But, you know, winning that championship, that's a pinnacle for us.
Yeah,
And it took
absolutely.
everything we had, every ounce of everything you have to win championship, and he's won 11.
That was, yeah, and that's just a stadium. How many
Yeah.
championships do you have total?
Yeah, that's just at the stadium. Right?
I think the hero card says 27 or 28, something like that.
That's a career right there, ain't it? And still rocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
Well,
you-
and that's funny too, because people, everything that was leading up to last weekend, and people man, how do you handle it? The way I said it, because I've been through just about every scenario. Here's the other thing you have to think about. If I quit tomorrow, I can sit back, put my feet up, and say, you know what, it's been a heck of a ride.
You done good.
So
yeah.
my give a craps are getting, that list is getting shorter and shorter of giving a crap anymore.
I thought you handled Saturday night like a pro.
Well, I appreciate it.
You handled it like a pro because in my day, back when I was younger, I know that guys didn't like me on other teams and all that. I got them scraps. Winston, I got bit when we won the All-Star race to Winston. Sandy Jones bit me. He denies it to today, but I got bit.
You would know.
I said, "There's
you would
no
know.
fighting in racing." I said,
Right.
Yeah, but I wasn't liked very good, and I would listen to some wrong advice, and I was just full of it myself. And then over the years, I'm like, I wish I hadn't behaved that way a few times. But when you're a competitor and you compete, it comes out in you.
Yeah.
But I just admire how you handled that the other night, and it was good.
I appreciate it. Well, it's funny because if you think about it, this just hit me as you're talking. The guys that have the most friends at the racetrack probably have the least amount of wins.
That's right.
Think about that.
And when you're competing like that, that's the way it was.
Think about that.
And I know, I'm just a crew member and a car builder and type. But when you're on pit road and you get into joust with guys next to you or cars running through your pits and no pit road speed, and we got a lot of things like that, and it wasn't my friend at that time, but now they're dear friends.
Right.
Yeah. Are you, I know there's a bunch of, or not, I say a bunch, but there's several Wheeling modified races coming up. I think Richmond, Martinsville, is there another one soon? North Wilkesboro, maybe?
They already did the Wilkesboro race.
I was thinking
it was
a
weekend
third
of
race somewhere around here that they're doing. Are you looking at doing?
No, probably not. Our car's Sap called me yesterday and asked about that. He said, "Are you going to run Richmond?" And I said, "No, just simply because, like I said, I don't want to knock safety by any means, but our cars
up there.
Our cars are not. It's not that my stuff's not safe. It's just that the little tag on there that says it is out of date. So the expense, not just that, that's the minor part of it. The major part of it is that tire, the compound they run, we don't have any tires. You'd have to buy all tires all day long, practice tires and everything else, license and fees and all that stuff that you'd have to pay. The reason sometimes it makes sense to do races like that weekly is because at the end of the year, they have a really good point fund.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing it every single week, you're getting something back at the end of the year.
Right.
So to do a one-off or a two-off doesn't make a lot of sense. And obviously Sap said, well, if you're not going to race, come hang out with us.
Right.
So we may do that.
Right.
We may do that.
They run Richmond Friday night?
It's Thursday night.
Thursday night?
It's Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then I don't know when Martinsville is, but yeah, if I'd love to race them.
Yeah.
But I can't justify.
No, that's a big spend.
We with all the smart races, and with me and Slake both doing it, and all the smart races and all of Bowman Gray, we could do it. We could, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to.
What's the next smart race on the calendar?
So Labor Day weekend. I don't know the date. It's Labor Day weekend. We run Friday night I always call it Coastal Plains. That's what it used to be. I think that's what
they renamed it back.
They renamed it Coastal Plains.
Jacksonville,
North Carolina. Yep. That's on Friday night of Labor Day weekend, and then we go to Carteret County on Saturday night. It's a doubleheader.
Hopefully that's the way it works out this year.
Yeah. We ran both of them in the same day last time.
That was insane.
That was nuts, man. That was really odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, they call it the beach weekend. So we got something really cool. I talked to it's a little teaser. I talked to Travis at Sag Raps Saturday night. He happened to make it over to the stadium and talk to him. So we got something kind of cool. We're gonna.
Dude, he is taking off.
Yeah.
The stuff he does is.
Let me tell you something.
Awesome.
I've always Mark Joyce at MJ Graphics does a phenomenal job for us. He does my numbers and the Citrusafe stickers and the Pinnacle stickers and a lot of that stuff for us. But as far as wraps are concerned, Mark doesn't specialize in wraps. Yeah. So we've gotten wrap material before, and like the white down the side of my stadium car it's a black panel with a white wrap over it. So I probably have my hands on just about every kind of material you can think of. Back in the day, I had a small vinyl cut machine, and I did my own.
I remember it in your shed. Yeah.
Yeah, the little shed. And so I've always done that. So whenever I'm involved with somebody like Travis, whenever we got the wrap for that camo deal, the quality of the material and the detail and the printing, dude, it made it fun. It made it fun. Like a lot of times when you're thinking about putting decals on, you're like, man, I got to put my decals on. Dude, when we put that wrap on, it was like, man, this is awesome. So just a little teaser there. We got something cool. We're going to announce in a couple weeks, I guess. But yeah, that's they're calling it the beach weekend. So that's what's coming up next.
Okay.
So.
You got anything big getting ready to come up at the school?
Well, we're as I said, the trades now. We're launching all these trades. But the season's kind of winding down. We'll be getting these engines in at the end of the season and rebuilding those, and always putting in. Every 3 weeks we start a class, and every 3 weeks we graduate a class out. And
on a side note, my daughter works for John.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Jade works in the office.
Yeah, she works in our
title?
admissions program.
Admissions.
She's an all-star too.
Yeah.
She first time I met her, I said, "We'll hire that girl." She's on the chip, man. She gets it done. But she's an amazing worker, and they love her. And I mean, as soon as she doesn't work for me or report to me, I just got her the interview, and they said, "Wow, she's awesome," and I'm proud of her.
She's a smart girl.
And that's cool too. You don't want to. My son-in-law used to work for us there, and I said, "Look, you can't mess up because that's a reflection on me." You know what I mean? But she's awesome. I told her I was going to be on the show. I saw her yesterday, and she said, "I'll have to listen to that."
Yeah.
Thanks, Jade. Appreciate it.
I think I told John. I said, "I've already told Jade. Look, you can't screw this up."
Right.
And John's like, "No, she's good."
You don't have to worry about her. Well, I hope we can keep her a long time.
So, prospective students, where would they go to find out some more information? To get into one of your many programs?
You can go to uti.edu, and then you'll see the NASCAR. Well, it was NASCAR, but the Mooresville campus when you go to the site, and we have high school reps just about in every high school in the country that share our program and talk about it, and basically recruit students for us. That's the way we have to do it. But you can go online and you can call, and you might get Jade on.
Might get Jade.
There's
two
Jades first. There's two Jades.
There's two Jades.
They'll refer you to Jade because she onboards a lot of people who enroll out of high school. When they're older and they're career changers, and we get a lot of them. I've had lawyers, bankers, X-ray technicians, you name it. I had them just change careers. Alaskan fisherman came and.
Wow!
Now he runs a garage in North Carolina.
I think I saw a story. But did he work a summer up there to save money to come?
Sold his boat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and come to school, and he was late 40s.
Yeah.
And now he's a shop owner, runs a shop. You have everything, and our highest growing demographic is females now. About 8-10%. Caitlin Brown. She graduated from our program, the spec engine program. She's a tire changer for Penske. She's won the pit crew competition and 2 Indy 500s, and she's a left front tire changer for
Good for her.
So doesn't matter if you got it in your heart and you got the wheel. There's opportunities out there now.
Well, that's great.
That's a barrier we broke. Nobody would hire a female till we started putting them into business, and they saw how successful they were. And that's a barrier us and Penske and Roush Yates broke all together at one time, and now. It's very common.
That's the great thing about this country is that if you're not afraid to hustle, you're not afraid to work, you're not afraid to get after it, there's success. You just have to work for it.
We go through a lot of pains, but usually we get it right in America. We've
exactly
been through, look back at our history at all the things we've done wrong or whatever, but we tend to get things right in the long term.
100%. Yeah. Well, as we start to wrap this up, I want to give a shout out to racefangear.com. I was going to wear the new Burton Slate shirt, but I promised George that I'd wear one of these.
I'm getting an orange bumper shirt. I saw it, and I'm like, I'm buying one. I want the orange bumper shirt.
The orange,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to racefangear.com, they'll have all of Burton Slate stuff, George Phillips stuff, got all the new shirts on there. If there's stuff that you all want, something that you think would be a great idea, please reach out to the folks at Race Fan Gear. Let them know what you're looking for. As always, we'd like to thank Citrusafe for this great studio. And John, I enjoyed just the time we got to spend sitting here.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's always fun to hear kind of how it was before looking at how it is. Not saying that's bad, but I always enjoy listening to stuff like that. I can appreciate it.
I appreciate it. We've had a great history. It's a short history, and I love the history of NASCAR. Our daddies raced. My daddy, his granddaddy raced on the beaches at Daytona. They're pioneers of this sport, and we're just carrying it on.
Well, and you're both carrying the torch very respectfully, and
Yeah.
I think that goes without saying. But well, for the end of the show, do we have any new guests we might be having on that we want to talk about, or just wait and do a surprise?
Let's this way. Yeah, we've got. There's one particular that I talked to that said, "Yep, get me some dates." And I know y'all have talked to a few, and yeah, we got some cool cool stuff.
Good
coming.
stuff coming.
So, yeah.
Well, this weekend.
Yeah, but what's cool is no disrespect, because I'm looking at Ryan's car here that he signed. No disrespect to Ryan, but it's awesome having a Cup driver on here.
Yeah.
But this is what I like.
I've
100%.
enjoyed this.
This is what I
100%.
like. The old stories because we go way back and our families go way back.
Yep.
So hearing the old stories and stuff like that, I like the history of it.
Yeah.
So, but they're all cool. You know
hopefully
what I mean? They're at some level, it's
Everybody
we
had
all-
it from a different perspective
right,
too,
it's a
because you got
different
all these
perspective,
people
but
looking at it
but we
differently.
all have the same focus and the same goal.
Yeah.
And the same thing on our mind is you're gonna put your effort and your time into what's on your heart.
Yeah.
And for
That's
us,
it.
it's racing.
Well said.
So
Saturday night, 100 lap race at the stadium. I won't be there, unfortunately. Sorry, Slate. I'll be at the Cars race. 50,000 to win. We'll be flying the drone there. I'll be watching on Flow. So good luck this week.
Thank you.
Let's hope for a drama-free weekend and
good luck.
not have anything to talk about, but a new trophy edition.
I hope so. Yeah,
next
it's
week.
funny because everybody, when we won 4 in a row, and everybody, oh yeah, you won 4 in a row. I said, listen, you ride the train as long as you can,
Dang
because
right.
it eventually throws you off. Because the last several weeks have been rough.
Yeah.
We're not working any less. We're not doing anything any different than we were. It's just
Right.
circumstance.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to get back on track this weekend, and our qualifying efforts, for years we've talked about how our qualifying needed to step up, and we haven't qualified. We qualified 4th, I think, one time. Everything else has been top 3, either the pole or second. So that's one of the things that makes you successful at Bowman Gray, is being able to qualify on the front row. We've qualified second this past weekend. I want to say we've qualified second at least 4 times, where Lee ran a 65 and a 66.
Mm-hmm.
So just that little bit of, we'd have 8 poles.
Yeah.
So that's one of the focuses we had this weekend. Qualifying doesn't really matter, because
No,
we're going to
it's-
reach in there
yeah.
with a dirty sock and pull a chip out. So we'll see what happens. I might, depending on how many cars there are and the circumstances, I might take the fans challenge this week if I can get in the top 4. So we'll see, man. Listen, like I said, when you get down towards the end of the year, you don't really focus on points, but as you're going throughout the year, if you got a shot at the points, you get down to 4 to go, your mindset changes just a little bit. But whenever you're back into points and you're kind of a little
Opens
bit
up
of a distance,
Opens up for a little bit more fun.
yeah, you can enjoy it better.
Yeah.
Me and Jamie's talked about this before. My crew chief, there's a couple years ago, we had several problems, and we were 3rd or 4th in the points and didn't really have a legitimate shot at the championship. And that last race of the year, we sat on the pole, won the race, and one of the most fun races we had all year long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there was no pressure.
Stress-free.
of points.
No.
And
Let's go race.
so hopefully we can have
Yeah.
that same mindset and go over there and try to win, man.
All right. Well, we'll try and make some room for another trophy.
Oh, yeah. All
But,
right.
Until next week, we appreciate everybody tuning in. One thing I did want to tell you is we're on YouTube, Spotify, and we are now on Apple. So you can find the Orange Bumper podcast on all 3 of those. You can also find it on Bert's Facebook page. So until next week, we appreciate you watching. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and make sure to wear your orange and black to the stadium this weekend. Take good care.